Hi guys, this is Tina. Welcome back to my channel. So we're here for another one of our mass making videos. What I thought we could do today is make little folding booklets to use with our journals. So if you're going to be crafting along with me today, you are going to need some coffee dyed, well they don't have to be coffee dyed, but plain pages basically to go inside your booklets. And of course this can be a combination of, you know, lined pages, plain pages. I've got here a couple of, you know, like I think these are called fly sheets from the inside of books and things that we can incorporate into our little booklets. Anything that's slightly plain basically would be perfect. You can obviously use some tracing paper, anything at all that, you know, basically would be a writing surface, a writing space. And they can be all variety of sizes and things like that. So that's going to be our blank page innards. So if I just pop those out of the way. And then you're going to want a variety of outers, basically, to have as your outside of your little booklets that we're going to make. I'm going to try and make some with little doilies. I saw a beautiful video, I think it was by Treasure Books. She made the most adorable little round kind of booklets. So I might make a couple of those as well, if there's time in this video. So, yeah, you're going to need obviously whatever you're going to want for, you know, basically your cover of your fold out pieces. Then you're going to need either stapler to staple your pages in. You could use thread to actually bind your pages in a more formal style. Or if you obviously have your sewing machine handy, you can run it through your sewing machine and stitch the pages like that. Yeah, either way or any of those ways is absolutely fine. Just personal preference really. So, and then you're going to need your scissors and anything that you're going to want to decorate your pieces with, basically. So yeah, I hope that you're going to all join me and let's get cracking. Okay, so what I'm going to do first, I've got these little scraps here, and these are just tiny little pieces that I've had laying around. So I'm going to cut some down to size. I mean, really, these mass making, you know, they're all about building up your ready-made stash that's ready then to go in journals, and obviously using up things that have been in your stash for a really long time. So these are just perfect size little pieces. I've also brought along some 12 by 12 sheet, 6 by 6 sheets that again I've had in my stash for just a really long time, and I thought it was just high time really that I get on with using those. So I'm going to use some of those, and then obviously I've got some offcuts here. So just here, cut this one down like that. We'll cut this one down like that. And then I've also brought along some book page to make some book page ones, which hopefully we will glue a couple of book pages together so that they're a little bit thicker to use. And then I've also got this, which, although, you know, technically it's not a scrap, I mean, when I'm referring to scraps, I'm just meaning leftover pieces basically, from other projects. So for me, you know, this is a leftover piece of paper that I have used for something else. So might as well pull that in and again use that for this mass making basically. Right, so that's a few pieces that I've got there for some covers. Let me just pop them out of the way for a moment. And then, as I say, I've also got some book page here. And then what I'm going to do is glue this together. So actually, I'm going to glue it together whilst it's still held together loosely in place. So I'm going to just try and go round in a little bit so that I will trim that down. Well, I guess I don't have to trim it down actually, so I'm going to go right to the edge actually. So I'll just get as close to the edge as I can. Now this again is where probably a glue stick would be preferable to this wet glue, especially as mine's now not really coming out, so not a great start. Okay. So I hope everyone's having a good day. Hope that you're managing to get some crafting done. These are hopefully going to be a good addition to just have ready in your stash as little filler pieces for your journals. So I can detach that now. That's one. I'll just pop that to the side to dry for a moment, and then we're going to do the other one like that. So just again glue as close to the edge as I can. Okay. You just want to make sure it's just really thoroughly covered with glue basically. I just want to say a quick thank you. I know I have said this now. Sorry about that, guys. Again, I was filming on my husband's phone, and I think I've said this before, that it unfortunately, when a call comes in, it just shuts the video process off. So I was just literally gluing these pages together, so you really didn't miss anything. So that's those, and then I've just got two more. So I will just glue those together also. As I say, these we're just making the covers here for our little booklets. Okay. It's raining outside. You can probably hear it on the window there. It just seems to have rained really a lot lately, which again, I'm filming these videos ahead, so it might be that by the time that this goes up, maybe it hasn't rained for days. I'm not lying. It has been raining continually whilst I'm filming. Right, okay. Now what I'm going to do is move this bunch of coffee dyed stuff out of the way, because depending on the size of our covers will depend on obviously the size of our pages. I quite like mine to be a regular size pages, so we may, you know, do a regular size pages, you know, variety, because I think that's really rather nice, but it's again personal choice really. So just fold these in. I mean, obviously these aren't quite dry, so that's not definitely really ideal, or not necessarily ideal, but they're dry enough so we can, you know, work with them a little bit. And then obviously some teeny ones here, and again teeny one here. So I mean, as you can see, you really can, oops, that one's a really teeny one, that actually wasn't meant to be one, but we'll go with it. As you can see, there's no rules. Again, we are just making according to the size of the papers that we've got here. So, you know, and again, if you want to measure, that is fine. Personally, I don't like measuring. You know, personally, I'm more likely to muck it up really when measuring, because I then get myself in a bit of a quandary and a bit of a state, you know, if it's not quite as it should be. So I'm better off not measuring. But again, that's just a personal preference thing. You must do what suits you best. So I've got this one. This little one here. I mean, as you can see, this has picked up all sorts of splotches of coffee dye. I'm going to trim this down, I think, make it a bit more of a long one. Just trim that off at the bottom. And then we've got those 8x8. I meant to say 12x12 again. So again, this one's pretty big. long. So I'm just going to trim that down slightly like that. I've got a couple of offcuts here from my vintage Gothic Halloween kit from the folio that I have been making or have made. And again, just trim that down like that. So I mean, as you can see, all I'm doing is making covers at the moment. We haven't obviously started pulling out any pages to go inside or anything like that. Now this one, I've obviously folded and torn it. I really like that rough edge, so I might have to leave that with that rough edge because I think that looks really nice. Okay. Right, we'll just do a couple more and then probably this will be enough to keep going with, or keep us going, because we've, you know, by the time that we cut the pages, they probably will take a little while to assemble. So let's just get rid of all of those bits into the bin. Oh, we'll just do this one as well. I've just got that there sat to the side. And again, I'm just going to trim this one down. This one's been just laying around in my stash for yonks, so it's pretty tatty. So benefits really from being cut down because obviously some of the corners were very, very creased. Okay. Haven't got the foggiest how many I've got there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. It's weird, I seem to just make them in batches of 14. Yeah, that's not intentional, it just seems to happen that way. Right, so first of all, I'm going to just pull in my papers. So I have a variety of, I've got that calendar paper that I'm still using up. I've got lined paper, and I've also got just plain coffee dyed paper. So if I start with probably these big ones, and what you're going to do probably is find the best way, the most efficient use of the paper, because you want it to go as far as possible really. So these are quite large, so I'm just going to fold my full A4, you know, copy paper size sheet, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it in. And obviously you want it cut in from the cover, you don't want it the size of the cover, if you see what I mean. It's cut in from there, and then you can obviously do another one. So again, we just cut down here like that. We're going to hang on to this piece, so pop that to one side and we're going to save it for another week. So then I may incorporate some of this calendar type paper, and I'm just going to snip off here where it's got the date at the top, and then again we're just going to cut it roughly down in line with those pages, so like that. And then you just want to then put your pages in together, making a little book basically like that, and then they're going to go inside your actual book. Now can you see there, they're just hanging out slightly, so I'm just going to go completely down the edge, just trim them down a little bit. I mean, again, I have not made a very straight job of that, but I mean, I don't think that really matters too much, so just going to pop that in like that. Okay, so exactly like that. Now, just having a look. I saw this fantastic binding method that Emily at Emephemera's Treasures did. I had never seen it before. I'm probably, you know, very slow to catch on, but she did this fantastic method, and I'm going to use it for one of these, but probably not this one because I've got that black threaded on that needle, and I might as well use that before having to rethread. So I'm just going to staple this one across the middle like that. Okay, so that's a complete booklet now. Oops, complete booklet now. Ready for using in your journals. So that's the first one. Let me pop that to one side and we'll crack on and do the rest. And obviously you can then use offcuts and things to make your others. So if I just do, I'm going to do another one of the book ones, but what I will probably do is actually stitch this in on the sewing machine. So I'm going to fold this in like that. Oops, I've torn straight through the paper there. We're going to cut that down out here. Like that. We can have another lined one there. And we could have a copy paper one. And again, I just fold that in like that. And this one I'm not going to fold right the way down. Just going to cut it here. Like that. Just again, just kind of eyeballing where I think it might need it. Tuck that one in like that. And then I'm just going to trim these down because again, as you can see, they're quite overhanging on the edge. So what I'll do is I will cut them down here at the top. So they're slightly smaller. And then just go in here at the side, like that. Okay, and then again, that just slots in there. So this one I'm going to stitch straight down the middle here on the sewing machine. That's all that would be needed to bind that. So obviously I will have to do that off camera, but that's what I'm going to do with that one. So pop that to one side. Now, obviously I've got a few offcuts now from our coffee dyed papers. So I can now start using them for other pieces. So this one, for instance, it's just a good length because I tore it there. Just a good length for this one. So I'm going to just cut that down like that. Okay, and we can pop that in there. And then again, I'm going to just pop that in there like that. And I'm going to just cut it about here. Like that. I will bin this because this is very small, so I'm not going to hang on to that. And again, you don't have to have as many pages as we had in the last one. So for instance, this, I'm just going to pop just 2 pages in. I mean, those 2 pages, once they're folded, are actually, 8 pages. And actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 sides. Sorry, 4 pages, 8 sides. Miscalculated everything there. So, with just those literally couple of sheets. Sorry, I was thinking I obviously had 4 sheets. With those 2 sheets, it gives you 4 little pages, which that's not bad, that's quite good. So we'll pop that to one side. So obviously adapt these to suit how many pages and things that you would like. So this one, obviously we've got a tiny piece here. We'll just fold that over like that. Trim it down here. And on the side, like that. And that's just a little tiny piece there, just perfect size for that. And again then, I'm just going to take this calendar paper, just go in about there, just going to eyeball it. And again, I mean, I might miscalculate this entirely and wish that I hadn't eyeballed it, but like that. and that would just slot in there. So again, I'm going to just take that, trim off that edge, because it was overhanging quite a bit, like that. Might just trim off that bit. And again, we can just go for just those couple of pages in there. I mean, obviously the amount of pages that you put in, completely up to you. The only thing really worth thinking is, although initially it seems like, you know, more pages is better, don't forget that obviously the more pages you have in your little booklet, the bulkier your booklet's going to be. So in some ways, you're better off with less pages, because obviously then it's more usable in a bigger variety. I'm just going to keep this piece for another week. So in some ways, it's better to keep them to only 1 or 2 pages, because obviously you've got then much more scope for using them in a bigger variety of things. And then to just mix it up, you can obviously round your corners of your little covers. You know, just for something a little bit different. We could obviously ink them up. You know, of course, you could ink yours up afterwards, you could ink them up before, you could coffee dye them, however you want to do them, really. So I'm just going to go in and ink this up now, like that. And obviously, you know, you could put little pockets and things like that inside your little booklet. We're just making here the basic pieces, if that makes sense. So what you then choose to do with yours, how you choose to alter yours, is entirely up to you. If you want to put pockets inside, that's fine. If you want to keep them as the basics and then maybe put pockets on when you come to use them, you know, because you may want pockets, you may not. Because again, all that's going to obviously bulk it out as well. But we here are just making like the basic item. So again, we're going to just pop that in there like that, and we'll just staple that in. And then I'm going to do the other blackish piece of paper, I think, so that I can have a go at that binding method that I saw Emily do, because it was awesome. So thank you, Emily, if you happen to see this video. It was really cool, and I'd never seen it before, so let's hope that I can remember how to do it, because I'm not the greatest at remembering things. Memory's a bit like a sieve, so you'll just see. So I've got this one here. Doesn't really need inking on the outside because it is quite dark, but I'm just going to fold my pages in. So I just use this plain page here. I've just thought we haven't used any of that book fly sheet yet, have we? So let's use some of that in a minute. So probably can stop talking quite so much about what I'm doing now. So my son and I have been watching something called, I think it's called Capture. It's on the BBC iPlayer. It's really good. We have only watched 2 episodes so far. I'm baffled as to what's going on. I can't quite make up my mind what's going on. I don't want to give the plot away to everyone, but let me think how I can describe it without giving the entire plot away. So basically, there's a soldier who has shot somebody whilst away at war, or whilst away in combat, and how can I say this? He gets released basically on a sort of technicality, I suppose you'd call it, Right, let me just quickly describe what we're going to do here. So this is this one hole binding method that Emily did, which I just thought was awesome. All she did was punched a hole straight through the middle of the piece. And then you get your thread, pull that through. Have I gone wrong already? No, I think I'm doing okay actually. Yeah, she went right round the entire thing and then she went back through that same hole. It threw me because she'd done hers on the outside, so that's why I was thinking, oh, mine doesn't look quite right, but that's why. So let me just pull this through slightly longer so it's got a bit more to play with. It's obviously cutting it fine with that thread, so I might have to cut the size of my book down slightly more, because otherwise I'm going to struggle to tie that. So let me just cut this. This now is obviously a disastrous demonstration of this. She made it look much easier, but right, let's try again. So I'm just going to hook this back round. Okay, so I have a bit more thread to play with now, if you can see. Okay, so what I'm going to do is cut my needle off so that I can actually tie this now in a knot. I mean, I just thought this was genius. I had never seen this before. And what a quick and easy, well, if you're not me, you know, what a quick and easy, brilliant method of binding. And I'm just going to knot it in the other direction so as it stays knotted. Oops, come on. Right, there we go. Isn't that brilliant? What a fantastic way of binding something. Now, she actually put her binding on the outside, so, you know, maybe that's a better way, because obviously this is slightly inclined to pop open now because of that, but it maybe would anyway. So I'm going to pop that to one side, and then I'm going to try and do that again, but making it a bit more straightforward and a bit less ridiculous. So we'll try again. Right, let's make a little booklet with this green piece, and then I'll finish telling you what I was telling you. So yes, it's about this soldier. He's killed somebody in combat, and then he gets released basically from prison on a technicality. And the story goes from there. Very quickly after his release, he is then rearrested for something else. And that's as much as I can say, but oh, it's so intriguing. Yeah, we don't know what's going on. And then in the second episode, again, I'm going to keep this. Could make another page, actually. Let's have a look. Yeah, so we were watching last night, and it's very intriguing. I don't know what's going on, because suddenly then something else happened and we were like, oh, what's going on there? So again, I don't know whether iPlayer, this is BBC iPlayer, I don't know whether that's available elsewhere in the world. You know, I don't know. But if you can get it, it's well worth watching. It seems really good. I mean, as I say, we're only on the second episode, and it says 4 episodes available, so I don't know whether it means there are only 4 episodes or whether it's like something that's actually on the TV at the moment and so there's only 4 episodes available. I'm not really too sure, but it's really good. We're really enjoying it, and it's very strange. I don't know why, but it's just my middle son and I who seem to be watching it. My husband and my oldest son don't really seem to be bothered about watching it. So, yeah, they're missing out, is all I can say on that. Right, just having a look, deciding what colour to thread it with. So, I'm going to take my green thread and just thread through. Right, this time I'm going to have it on the outside. Now, so what you want to do is obviously have your thread long enough to poke through once, go round once, and then come out the other side. So, you know, not too long, quite short. So again, this is quite another good way to use up, not scraps, but scraps of your thread. Because I don't know about you guys, but, and actually I've just thought I'm not going to round the corners on this one because I think actually that might encourage tearing. So I'm going to snip that down. You know, like where there's that dip, the thread's just going to kind of slot in there and then tear it, I think. So we'll cut that down. Yeah, I don't know about you guys, but after I, you know, bind a journal, and let's say I can get 3 journals out of a typical, you know, one of these things, they're not a spool, I don't know what they're called, bundle of the embroidery thread, I'm often left with a bit that's not long enough to bind a journal, but it's too long to just bin. So I end up hanging on to it, and then, of course, you know, it never really gets used. It just sits somewhere and doesn't really get used. So I'm going to go in now from the outside so that I've got my thread on the outside. So I'm just going to go right the way round like that, and then I'm going to go back through that hole like that. I mean, this is just so clever, and how, yeah, I don't know why I hadn't ever seen this before, but thank you so much, Emily. What a brilliant method. It's really nice, really simple, you know, different to using staples, saves me using the sewing machine. So yeah, thank you very much for sharing that. Really love it. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant way of binding for just small pieces. I mean, obviously you couldn't really bind a whole journal, but ooh, binding small pieces, it's just perfect. There we go. Now the only thing is, I am quite a clumsy person, as you can see, and I have possibly pulled that quite tight. So probably you don't want to pull it as tight as I have, because it is kind of creasing that book, but never mind. Right, let me see how long I have left, because don't want to obviously take up all day of people's. So hold on a second. Oh my gosh, it's saying low battery. Right, okay, I'm going to have to hurry up because the phone is now saying low battery, which is a bit annoying. Right, so the final one, obviously I have got these, and you know, I'll have to do those in slow time. The final one, I've got these rectangular doilies, so I fold this one in half, and I'm just going to snip it down like that. And I'm going to fold it in half like that. Oops. And then, oops, I'm going to take my coffee dyed sheets, oops, like that. Again, I'm just going to eyeball roughly how big those pages need to be. Snip off this piece at the bottom like that. Okay, and as you can see, I mean, they're quite overhanging, that doily, so I'm just going to slop them together. Cut this down a bit so that it's not overhanging so much, or hopefully not overhanging at all, and then just pop that into that doily piece. Aren't they gorgeous? Again, just what a fantastic idea. So thank you so much. This was on Treasure Books. She used round doilies, which I did bring a couple of round doilies on with me to make some, but obviously now I'm running at low battery on my husband's phone. Let me just check what it's saying. I probably, you know, shouldn't really now do some more, because obviously we like to decorate one, don't we, normally? So there we go. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. And you could have that, you know, either way up. So if I just bring in the ones that we've made again, obviously this has now been cut short because of the battery situation, which is a bit frustrating. So I have got this one, which I'm going to stitch on the sewing machine, but we've made these ones here. So if we now decorate one, let's pull this one in and decorate this one. I'm going to round the corners like that. I'm going quickly because I'm hoping I'm going to be able to do this before the battery goes. It's saying 10%. Now, obviously, because it's not my phone, I have no clue, you know, what that means in time terms of how long we've got before the phone will shut down. Yeah, no idea whatsoever. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens in a moment. Hopefully it will be long enough for us to actually be able to decorate this. There we go. And again, I mean, these were just some 6x6 papers that I've had for like the longest time. And to be honest, I'm, you know, probably not really going to use them if I'm truthful. So this is quite a good way to use them because I can just kind of disguise them and cover them up. So I've got here the small doilies that I had bought in, obviously, for making into my booklets. And I'm just going to wrap that round, I think, the edge. So again, I'm just going to glue this in. I'm really going quick because I'm aware of, obviously, the battery situation. Not thinking at all, you know, about what I'm doing. I'm just literally going for this because I don't want the battery to go before the video's over. Like that. And then just ink that doily up a tiny bit. And then we could just pop something on there. Again, I'm just having a quick rummage around my desk, seeing what I've got here. What have I got? We could have a little clock. Let me ink that up and see how that would look. So this is a stamped clock. Quite black, isn't it? It's possibly a bit too black and bright. That's a bit too blue. Oh, it's going to be one of those where I just can't find quite the ideal piece. Now that would have been quite good, but it's quite small. Oh no, come on. Right, let me reach in for my ephemera kind of folder in that coin wallet, because I've got some of these ready cut out. So I've also got like a gypsy caravan. I happen to know that because I cut that out only yesterday and put that in there. So let's have a look. Oh, that's quite cute on there, isn't it? Let's just ink that up. Oh, I really like that. That's really sweet. So I'm going to go for that, I think. So just going to stick that doily down a little bit more. And then glue this on. Like that. Oh, that's so cute. It's really, really, really sweet. I have got some fabric here, so we'll just see whether we could just like put some fabric or anything. I mean, to be honest, it doesn't really need anything else, but I do really love decorating, so let's have a look. Oh, I don't think it really needs it. And I'm not sure I can even get away with putting it on there, you know, unless we have a tiny piece here. So let's just, could have that just in the middle. Is that a bit strange? You see, I put it on and then when I move it, I think, it looks a bit plain now. So perhaps we will. Let's just go for that there. Oops, come on, glue. Already running out of this 3-in-1. I have to say, that's my only thing. I mean, I am quite liking this Fabri-Tac or 3-in-1, whatever. You know, either of those. But it's not lasting as long as I'd hoped because it is quite pricey. So I'd hoped it was going to last for ages, which would then make it, you know, more cost effective. But it's not lasted overly long. Just wondered whether we wanted a little flower on there, but no, I don't think we will. Just stick that down there. Let me see whether I've got anything else laying around that we could pop on here. Maybe just a little flower there or something. It's quite pretty, isn't it? So we'll just quickly ink that up like that. Get my fabric glue and just pop that down like that. Okay. Right. So that looks cute, doesn't it? And I have actually got a little gem that we could pop on there as well. Oh, that looks pretty. Right, let's quickly pop that gem on as well. Okay, right. So I apologise for the, you know, quick nature of the finish of this video. As I say, I mean, obviously I had hoped to get a lot more done, but unfortunately the camera is saying low battery and I don't want to actually finish without saying goodbye properly. So we've unfortunately had to cut it short and only managed to make a few, but hopefully again that's given you some ideas of some other things that you can be mass making. So I hope you're all going to join me next week for another mass making session, and yeah, thanks very much. See you guys later. Bye.